My name is Dr. Eric Arzubi. I am chair of the psychiatry department at the Billings Clinic, and I'm a child and adolescent psychiatrist. Next is, what can we do to help our children manage feelings? You know, as I spent some time trying to prepare for this, and you know, I have different materials that I use for this. One is sort of called the Parent's Handbook that comes from Systematic Training for Effective Parenting. It's written by Don Dinkmeyer and colleagues. And another one is Nurturing Parents. And you know, there's several books out there, and I encourage anyone who's interested in learning more to buy a parenting book. Most parenting books that are written by clinicians who have done research in this area, you know, they're based on similar principles, but I think it's worth doing. And again, I rely on these books all the time, not only as a clinician, as a psychiatrist, but also for myself, to remind myself what I'm doing wrong every day. So, talking about parents, talking about the feelings that your children might have and helping them express and communicate those feelings, a couple things. First of all, I think it's important to recognize that how we prepare our kids to handle their feelings will affect the quality of their life more than any other element of parenting. I'm going to repeat that because it's important. How we prepare our children to handle their feelings will affect the quality of their life more than any other element of parenting. So remember, step one is we need to understand and be able to manage our own feelings. Then, only then are we able to help our children manage and understand their feelings. And again, this is one of the most critical, if not the most critical element of parenting. So, it's important that we're gonna honor all the feelings our kids have. The same way you're gonna accept all the feelings that you might experience, we're gonna validate and honor all the feelings that our kids have. It doesn't mean we're gonna give in to all desires and requests, but we're gonna acknowledge and validate these feelings. So, for example, if a child is crying, you say, "Why are you crying? It didn't hurt that bad." That's not validating a feeling. Or, "Don't show me that angry face." Or another one is, "There's no need for you to be so sad." These are three different ways that, you know, you're trying to make a certain situation go away, but invalidating or not validating a child's feelings. So our goal is going to be to try to build or develop emotional competence in our kids. And this, you know, if I were to describe it, it's sort of the ability for parents and children to be able to recognize and express their feelings in appropriate ways. And I have a list of eight ways that we can think about building emotional competence in our kids. Number one, let children know that all feelings are okay. The same way we talked about before in terms of our own feelings as parents, all feelings are okay. The difference is, how do we communicate those feelings? That's what we need to think about. That's number one. Number two, label the feeling you see or you think you see. So if your child looks unhappy or angry, you know, help them identify that by saying, "Gosh, you look angry, you look unhappy." Because, you know, a lot of what therapy is for children is really helping them give language to what they're feeling. And if they don't have the language for those feelings, they'll come out in other ways, and sometimes less acceptable ways. So help label the feeling you see in your child or you think you see. Or if they look proud, you say, you look proud, you look happy. And in that way, the child will feel believed and respected. Third, don't dominate the conversation. You know, let your child do the talking. Sit down, look at your child in the eye, and let them talk. That way, you know, even you might be thinking about other things, but let them feel like they're the center of the world at that moment and listen to what they're saying. And this will encourage sharing, because ultimately you want your child to share, right? Because if your child doesn't feel heard, they're not going to be sharing a lot of things with you. So the more that they feel heard, the more they're going to be sharing with you. And also, a child can think better if they don't feel like they're being advised, blamed, criticized. Let them talk, and you'll hear a lot more. The fourth step, ask why. Do a lot of asking why. You know, kids do it to you. We're allowed to do the same thing. So if a child sees another child feel hurt or upset or crying, talk to your child and say, "Well, why does little Bobby look upset, or why is Susie crying?" Well, that starts to develop empathy. If you can start asking them why questions around other people's feelings, you'll start encouraging them to start thinking about other people's feelings, and that starts building empathy. Or you can ask your child if they look sad, why do you feel so sad? So again, first you label it, you say, you look sad, why? It'll give them an opportunity to tell you. Saying things like if a child has experienced a disappointment at school, saying, why are people mean sometimes? And give them the opportunity to think about that. So that's step 4. 5th, so if there's a difficult situation, brainstorm with your child what, if anything, needs to be done. So if a child comes to you is crying, is upset, you can try to work with them on trying to brainstorm ways that they can handle the situation, or if they just need to be comforted, just let them be comforted, or comfort them. But brainstorming and trying to engage your child in this sort of discussion could be productive. And I mentioned this before, when a child wants something, again, you're in a grocery store or you're in or something, and a child says he or she wants something, instead of just dismissing it and ignoring it or just telling them to stop it, listen and say, well, if a child wants a certain toy or certain food, you ask them why, and ask them what they like about it, and then explain to them, that sounds really cool, but I won't be able to do it this time. Maybe when it's Christmas or maybe when it's your birthday, we'll be able to talk about some of this. And also, this allows you to kind of join your child instead of kind of put yourself sort of in opposition to your child. This allows you to join with your child, say, wow, that is pretty cool. Let's think about it at another time or another date when, the week I get paid or a different time. And by the way, you can imagine they're more likely to listen to you if you kind of join with them instead of saying them just no and telling them to shut down. Next is teaching children how to express their emotional energy. Remember, we talked about feelings having a certain amount of energy. There are comfortable feelings that have a certain amount of energy, and the uncomfortable ones have a lot of energy that we want to get rid of. So all feelings have energy that needs sort of expression. The energy can be mild to moderate to severe. The mild to moderate, the feelings with mild to moderate energy are the ones that we can probably take care of through talking, but the ones that are sort of moderate to severe, you're probably going to need your child to do something physical, and you want them to encourage them to do something physical that's healthy, right? Not aggressive. So maybe working with your kids on a list of things that they can do to kind of blow off steam and use physical energy to unload the energy related to an uncomfortable feeling. And then last, and probably what's most important, and you've heard me say this before, is praising. Praise, praise, praise. When your child is able to express feelings in a way that's positive, that's appropriate, praise it. Again, if there's anything your child does that is something you want to see them do again, praise it. Acknowledge it, praise it. If you see them interacting with another sibling in a way that you really think is great, praise. There's no such thing as too much praise when it comes to trying to reinforce something you want to see over and over again, especially when you're trying to build a relationship and get away from behavior modification or trying to punish. And again, we want to model appropriate ways to express feelings. So we as adults are being watched all the time by these kids, right? So if we're modeling a certain way of expressing feelings, kids are going to see this. So it's important that we model sort of healthy and appropriate ways to express feelings. And again, make sure and honor those feelings, honor all the feelings that a child has. But in that way, they'll feel valued and celebrated. And I think that's critical as we're trying to become better parents.